Good evening, Mr. and Mrs. West Santa Clara, and everyone who cares about what's going on the west side of Santa Clara. This is the West Side Story. I'm your host, John Casey. A couple items to talk about today. The first one is it's a little early in the day to post this for me, but I wanted to get it out as soon as possible because there's a really cool event in downtown Santa Clara. Once a year, the city closes off part of Franklin Street and they have a dance, a street dance. It's a lot of fun. They have food trucks. They have different groups, but it's a very congenial, enjoyable atmosphere. If you have a chance, I'd go over there and check it out. The group playing tonight is called Neon Velvet, and I think that'll be a lot of fun. I know that'll be a lot of fun. Coming up on the 5th of August is the National Night Out. It's too late to organize a new event, but you may want to just check out the ones near you. It's a lot of fun. People bring food, and it's a chance to meet your neighbors and figure out what's going on. The other thing that's happening, and I don't necessarily think it's great, but it's happening. I've shopped at the Lucky store on the El Camino for many, many years. I shopped there when it was a Ralph's. I shopped there when it was an Alpha Beta, and then later a Lucky's. Well, it's going to go through another transition. It's going to become a Food Max. Owned by the same company, but a little different approach. They go for larger quantities and less choice. Not sure how it's going to work out, but we'll certainly check it out. Last thing I wanted to touch base on was last week we talked a little bit about the police being called to Kevin Park's residence, and Kevin represents this area on the city council and does a great job. I finally got my hands on the police report, and yes, indeed, that they were called. It looks to me like Kevin called them, and it looks like he felt the situation was escalating and needed to get some help out there, which he did exactly the right thing. There were no arrests made, so I have to assume it was a pretty easily fixed situation. In any case, that's the news items. On the 20th, over at Homestead and Kylie, we had an arrest for failure to appear. Also on the 20th, we had an arrest at the Driftwood Inn on the El Camino for possession of paraphernalia. That seems to be a real hotspot these days. On the 22nd, we had an arrest at Golden State in the Lawrence Expressway, result of a commercial burglary, and that person was taken into custody also. On the 23rd, a driver was pulled over in front of the Santa Clara Unified School District office over there at St. Lawrence and Lawrence Road for driving under the influence. That person was taken away also. On the 24th, they made a stop at Bow in the El Camino. That's the old driveway to the Moonlight Drive-In. A whole bunch of charges on this poor guy. They took him in, and he's going to be there for a while. On the 25th, the next day at Bowers in the El Camino, we had an arrest for driving under the influence. Also on the 25th, we had an arrest at the Harbor Freight over there at Stevens Creek in Lawrence. Apparently we had possession of drugs, possession of paraphernalia, and driving without a license. That fellow went away also. On the 25th, we also had over at Stevens Creek Nissan a situation with stolen IDs. That person was taken away also. On the 25th, at what used to be the Motel 6 on the El Camino, I say used to be because it's had a couple of name changes in the last 6 months. I think it's now Park Place, or maybe Budget 8, I'm not sure, but it's the old Motel 6. Had 2 arrests there for violating court orders for one, and the second one, a long list of drug-related charges. On the 28th, over at 3661 Peacock Court, that's the kind of ugly blue building that's at the end of Peacock Court, we had an arrest for violating a court order and obstructing officers in their duty, and that person was taken in also. So that's it from the West Side for this week. Thanks a lot. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you next week.